Good evening and welcome to National Talk on ECWA Television International. My name is Lois Tureki, and tonight, as always, we will talk about burning issues that affect Nigerians. And you know, these issues are talking about the NLC, the recent happenings within the past few days. And tonight we will be talking on latest NLC industrial action, exploring sustainable solutions. And I'm not doing this alone. I have two gentlemen. I have the NLC Vice Chairman of Plateau State, that's Comrade Sunday Akim Folarin, and Godwin Etim, a public commentator. Good evening, gentlemen, and you're welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's our pleasure. Thank you.
From your busy schedules, we are thankful that you could give time and then come to the show. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, before we go straight into the discussion, I will just read this. On the 14th of November, in spite of court order preventing the organized labor from embarking on any form of strike, the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria (TUC) have decided to proceed with their planned nationwide strike. On that day, the decision came at the end of the joint National Executive Council NEC meeting of the NLC and TUC in Abuja. Both labor centers last week issued a final notice to all affiliates and state councils to prepare for a total nationwide shutdown following unmet demands in the aftermath of the assault on the NLC and National President Comrade Joe Ajaero in Imo State. Labour has precisely issued a 6-point core demand to include the immediate removal of the Commissioner of Police, Ahmed Berde, from Imo State, removal of the area commander, arrest and prosecution of the advisors to State Governor on special duties, Nwaneri Chinasa, and other state government officials identified in the alleged brutalization of Ajaero and other workers who were humiliated in that very assault. The labor leaders also demanded a quick, independent and thorough professional medical examination of Ajaero in the light of the physical and sociological injuries inflicted on him. They also resolved that other workers and journalists subjected to the alleged inhumane treatment by the police and Hope Uzodinma's goons be treated by the state and all the properties lost be restored immediately. They equally demanded the immediate implementation of all the outstanding industrial relation issues as previously agreed with the Imo State government. Comrade Ajaero was assaulted in Owerri, the Imo State capital, last week when he held a labor march in the state to demand that the state government comply with certain welfare issues concerning workers in the state. He and other leaders blamed the Hope Uzodinma administration for sponsoring the attack on Ajaero. However, the police said they arrested Ajaero to save him from danger during the protest march. Reports said although Justice Benedict Kaniv of the National Industrial Court (NIC) had invoked Section 17 and 19 of the NIC Act to issue the restraining order against labor following an expert application brought by the federal government, the Attorney General of the Federation (AGF) and Minister of Justice, the labor leaders have insisted that they will not back down until their demands are met. TUC National President Comrade Festus Osifo, who addressed journalists NEC meeting in Abuja, said the demands remain unmet and maintained that those who brutalized Ajaero in Imo State must be arrested and prosecuted. Now, talking about the whole issue, it started, I know that following the May 29th, the declaration by by Tinubu removing fuel subsidy and then the untold hardship that came on the people because of that particular announcement, NLC have been fighting and saying they will go on strike on different occasions. And at one point or the other, we see that they did not go on those strikes because of one issue. Maybe they had a meeting with the federal government and then they say, okay, we will not go on the strike. We have given the federal government 30 days ultimatum and what have you. But recently there was an assault on Joe Ajaero, that's the national NLC president in Imo State. But before I ask you any questions, I want us to watch this video by Hope Uzodinma just 2 days after.
Very interesting.
Yes.
That's good.
Let's have that video, please.
Of the issue of labor, I want to put it on record that my civil servants, the workers of Imo State, who have been verified and cleared, over 98% of them, this government is not owing them any dime. If there is anything, I met backlog of salaries of judges in this state, 24 months left behind, and I struggled to, I made sure I paid all the outstanding arrears of salaries. So Imo State government is not owing any worker. The 2% that were not paid had discrepancies. Some of them before this time were transferred from one department to another department. And they were receiving salaries from where they left and from where they went to. Some of them were not existing, never existed. And those ones were uploaded because we applied biometrics. And we gave up to 9 months to every civil servant who is not receiving his or her salary to come forward. Those who came forward and made some strong cases, genuine cases, were admitted into our payroll. Today, we don't pay salaries through manual processes. We have automated our salary payment system. We have automated every government financial transaction to the extent that you don't need to see anybody at the end of every month to get your salary. The second segment we are going to is that because now people don't refer to anybody before they get salary, the level of truancy has risen. So we are now installing clock in and clock out device that will enable government not pay those who didn't come to work. And that is what we are working on. The sponsored antagonism between Imo State and national leadership of Nigerian Labour Congress, politically sponsored antagonism, we are already handling. The government of Imo State regrets any assault meted on the president of Nigerian Labour Congress, but at the same time condemn in its entirety the attempt by the president of Nigerian Labour Congress to take the leadership of Imo State for granted. He is one of us. He is from this state, elected as president of Nigerian Labour Congress. It should be an advantage to Imo State. I think I deserve that I should be informed, even by him, that he has been elected. Not even one visit, not even one phone call to the governor of the state. Rather, he come in here, he do nocturnal meetings with political opponents. That is not acceptable, and government must not be cowed by any non-state actor. I will not submit to that. I can never be intimidated. I represent the interests of my people. You gave me the mandate. What are you talking about? If you look at in this hall, you see the leadership of both PDP, Labour Party, and the APC. The Elders Council is non-partisan. And if you have taken decision, government in office must enforce the decision for and on behalf of Imo people.
And that was the re-elected governor of Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, and that video courtesy Channels Television. Well, we have heard what he has said, and thankfully yesterday the NLC called off the strike they embarked on for 2 days, and popular opinion said it was partially there was partial compliance. So I want you to just put us through, that's the NLC Vice President, you put us through the whole event that happened, because we have seen that NLC have tried to go on strike but did not, but because of the recent assault. Yeah. Just put us through that.
Well, thank you once again. You are welcome. And I think last time here we deliberated a lot of issues, and we make you to understand that we are not lawless people. And unfortunately, the government of the day of some states trying to create a situations that is not peaceful, can we say, an ugly situations. And we look at it this time around, and ugly situations will also be addressed with ugly eyes. So many times we are trying to embark on industrial actions, and the government of the days have a mechanisms in order way to cripple our wings of embark on any actions. But the question is that what have actually going on with them is because when they discover that really there's no way of cutting labor not to proceed, is to rush to any court, a backyard court, and get an injunction to restrain us entirely. And those are responsible for us to get it very difficult to embark on any actions that we propose, any strike actions. But at this time around, even though if there is injunctions, we also break that injunctions. Because it's not
against the law?
It's not against the law. If you say it's against the law, what have happened before the governors of Imo, Hope, Usodima, allowed decisions like this to arise? The simple fact is that Labour NLC president.
But the government of Imo said they were not involved in this particular assault.
Let me now tell you, where is it this we are talking about? What's the positions of the commissioner of police? What's the positions of others body were mentioned in your opening speech? What is their responsibility? What's the duties of the government? I mean, the commissioner of police in the state? Has it thoroughly discharged his responsibility? Now that is one.
They arrested him because they wanted.
They arrested him. Who arrested him?
Because they wanted.
They arrested who? They protect. Now, if they have arrested Joe Ajero, they are protect. If you want to protect me today, and you come to hold me, my brother, you and my brother hold my hand and take me to somewhere, I should be able to identify you. Is that not so? Must you, protect me and blinded my eyes? If not because of the national advisors of security, Nuru Rubadu, Ajero could have been totally killed. Why are they attacking the journalist? Labour have not been on the street. We are in our office. The meeting was ongoing. Why should they surround the place with police, all sorts of harms and the talks? Even though they even agree that we are on the street, and we say we don't have a fundamental right to protest. The constitutions of this country, chapter 4 of it allow that. Chapter 40 of the constitutions of Nigeria to allow for freedom of associations, freedom of protections, freedom of expressions, freedom of religions. Why are they not restraining us for that? So when they are doing all these things, why federal government are not going to Imo and give them a court order to restrain him on what he's doing? And mark you, if he said all this fallacy that he's talking here, it's a blatant lie. Have you cared to ask him what happened to about 32,000 workers in the state, and you declare them as a ghost workers now, and you have not paid them? For almost about 31 months, you have not paid the workers.
But you heard Uzoduma.
See, you should know the gimmicks of all the politicians. Have you seen any of them to speak the truth? Even my brother who was there, who forgot that he's coming from a consultancy. If you have listened to him about 3 days ago, must you be expecting such things to come? Because they have crossed to another ladder. And he speak like that. So what are we saying? Now, he have not involved in this. Why is he involving all the kingsmen in Imo State? To render an apology on his behalf. The former IG was there. The former was also there. And just to mention a few number of people. Live and direct. Yes. Can you apologize for what you have not committed? Is it possible? Can somebody come and crucify you for what you have not done? All his talk, all his hate, now it has been expelled out. We believe that those things will not be a faceless one, because it has said that some of these guys who are involved in all this have been arrested. Okay, if as a governor of the state, chief security officer, if you have not dropping his hand into all these things that have happened to our president, will he allow the commissioner of police to be demoted from that place to another place? Not even giving an office as I'm talking to you now. So you see, when we are talking, we should look beyond all what these politicians are telling us. Some of them, when you are talking, they say they don't have money. They don't have money. The citizens will believe that they don't have money. But have they questioned their cost of their living?
Well, comrade, let me cut you here. Mr. Etim, I want you to give us a public analysis of this particular issue.
It's because we decided not to obey their kangaroo injunction they have been bringing for
Please,
us, and it has come to an end. Labour will never take it again.
Yes, let him speak.
There are a number of scenarios to this. The first, let's put it where it belongs. The Nigerian government, as under Tinubu, is not different from what we had under Buhari.
But reports say they give listening ear to the people.
No, you see, we're going to come to that. This government, from what Tinubu told us, will be a continuation of Buhari. In every facet, in every aspect of our national life, that's what he's doing.
Is that what is happening right now?
No, exactly, that's what's happening. In actual fact, what he has done is, Buhari took us some years backwards. Tinubu has taken Nigerians some decades backwards. It's very clear. There are a number of scenarios. The president of this country, personified in Tinubu today, has not publicly made any statement as the president of Nigeria to say, okay, hold on. The NSC president, sorry, this thing has happened. Government will see to it that it doesn't happen again. He didn't say that. Two, on the flip side, everything Uzodimma has said is praised. He said things he believes Nigerians will want to hear, his own constituency will want to hear.
But we've seen that some days ago, after his re-election, we saw that the workers of the state went in solidarity to support him. And those are the people that the NLC chairman was trying to fight for.
Just hold on.
Okay.
Let me land. There was what looked like an election in Imo State. Let us flip back. Uzodimma came third. Nigeria's Supreme Court made him governor.
Not elected.
In a particular newspaper today, I'm not going to mention it, a legislator from Plateau State in the House of Reps openly told Nigerians that the Supreme Court judges are in their pockets. Nobody is surprised. That's what they've been doing. Now, if we come back to the labor issue, if there was any problem that Uzodimma felt bad about, he didn't use the court. He didn't use the courts. He did not ask anybody to say, look, excuse me, can you call Ajero to order? He has not presented a security report that indicated that Ajero was a security risk. Even when this exercise took place, the police are saying, okay, we took Ajero because we wanted to, save him from public mayhem. You don't save a man from public mayhem, and the man comes back with his face bruised.
Next.
So that is also another aspect. Then lastly, at what point did it become clear to Uzodimma that Ajero has been meddling in internal political affairs of Imo State? He did not address it in his speech. You see, people like Uzodimma, like other Nigerian professional full-time politicians, all they do is create confusion amongst the people, among their own people, or because they want to help themselves with public money. Now, if you bring it down, the so-called industrial action took, I want to call it so-called industrial action, that, strike that took place. The National Industrial Court said, don't go on strike. Which National Industrial Court? Where the judge that gave that injunction, did he invite labor to say, okay, since the government of Imo State has come with this, come defend yourself? He didn't. Just like we know, we are in Nigeria, we're living witnesses, that the immediate past president of the customary court of the Court of Appeal, her husband told senators, to the end of all Nigerians, how he put pressure on his wife to give judgments that were not correct. So if you are a decent, consensus, patriotic Nigerian, would you obey court order from a man who himself should be an arbiter, but has become not just the referee, he is also a player on the pitch? That's what. Then on the other side, people are saying, okay, NLC, why did you go on strike? I mean, Is it because of Ajero? If the government of the US will come to Nigeria to pick one marine under Buhari, that took place. Why? Because as at the time he was kidnapped, what was he wearing? He was professionally employed in the American Armed Forces as a Marine. So what will the government do? Protect him. As at the time Ajero went to Imo State, he was wearing, he's from Imo, all right, yes. But he was wearing a cap. That cap was National President of Nigerian Labour Congress. To that extent, you will hold back and let the law take its course. You don't send people, even what he did to say is a public apology, history will judge him because that thing he did is sham. You don't say, we want to apologize, then I sound you said, but he's holding nocturnal meetings. If you knew as the governor of the state, the chief security officer, what then did you do? Did you report Ajero's actions to the Minister of Labour? He did not. Did you call the attention of National Security Advisor? Say, come, Ajero is met. He did not. Who did he speak to? A man cannot play judge, jury in his own case. So that's what the demand is. So as far as Nigerians are concerned, even when people say, okay, after the election, they went to, those are rented crowds. That's it.
That's normal thing.
Well, it was said that was the strike a better option to that particular assault, because we can see that Ajero would have done differently, probably go give a petition or go to the court to fight, because this was a security issue. He was assaulted on. People feel, or personally, let me talk for myself. I feel he would have explored those measures instead of going, because it feels like it was a cheap blackmail, or recently, like strike has become something that we just take for granted, and then
might not be
it's really the solution.
Yes, strike might not be the ultimate solutions. That's the last weapon we can use. And like my brother have rightly said, how do you place the presidents of the country? How do you value the presidents of the country? Bola Tinubu today, as the president of this country, you honor him, right? You respect him. Whatever that happens, he become an untouchable person because he wear the cap of what? Presidency. The same thing Ajero. I will flash your mind back some times ago when Adam Oshomole was saying that we have two presidents. Yes. One for the entire nations and one for the workers of the nations. So Ajero stand on that nomenclatures. He become an untouchable person. I want you to know that one today. And aside of that, before we embark on industrial actions, you see, we do things in line with what the Constitution says. All what really happened to Ajero is very unfortunate. And the whole world were keenly watching what's going to be the end of these situations. This thing occurred on the 1st of November, right?
Yes.
We gave them almost more than 7 days. And we itemized our demand. Failure to do all this, then we have no any options than to withdraw all the services in the country. And which we did. Hold on. We waited for their response. But they show nonchalant attitude towards all this. So what do you want us not to do? And mark you see, they are just playing a cartel game.
There was a partial compliance of this particular strike.
What is partial compliance?
Because we could see that in Abuja. I was in Abuja some days back, and then there were still schools that were open. There were still, although there was a shutdown in the National Assembly for a period. Let me just tell you the procedures of strike. Since the Senate President talked about it and everything, and then the meeting they had yesterday, Samuel Along was there, and the NSA Ribadu was there as well. They talked about all those issues.
Why are they there? Why are they calling for that meeting now?
It's a security issue, so I feel they should be there.
It's a security issue.
But
no, excuse me. Just a minute. I'm not cutting you short. Just a minute. Let us look from another perspective. If NLC, how do you, as Nigerian president of this country, something happens on the 1st, and a man says, I give you 7 days, and After 7 days, they did not think it was necessary. They owe Nigerians an apology. You see, the way we treat Nigerians here is the same way others have treated Nigerians. Under Buhari, Nigerian diplomats were assaulted in how many countries? When you call your own children thieves, rogues in the marketplace, everybody in your village will give them that same name. That's one. Number two, if NLC had not gone on this strike, whether you call it partial or not, this government would not have told the world, oh, we have arrested them. Even as we
apologize.
speak, even as we speak, they have not shown us the pictures, clips of anything of anybody who has been arrested. You see, for instance, let me digress a little bit. Tinubu just came back from Saudi Arabia. He was there, a Nigerian aircraft, Peace Air. What happened? They turned those Nigerians back. He still sat there to discuss what with who?
Business.
You see, our politicians, professional politicians, Tinubu included, all they do is make money for themselves, into their pockets, and to their families. You will never see that thing happen, even in a small country like Cotonou, Benin, or Ghana. They take all kinds of insults. And so the Nigerian institutions such as NLC, they have also learned to disobey the law. They also want to go the rogue way, because the government itself has always believed going rogue is better. Now, the Senate president, he sat down. When Ajero was assaulted on the 1st, Akpabio did nothing. The speaker did nothing. They all kept quiet, because in their hearts, it's good for him, we've taught him a lesson. Yeah. Nigerians went on strike. NLC called out a strike. People say it is partial. Let me also explain the other dynamics. NLC, I'm not speaking for NLC, but technically speaking, NLC is not interested in everybody being off work. There are 3 different classifications. Money earning agencies. They lose money for every day they don't go to work. The airports were shut. The seaports were shut. It's been reported in the papers that billions were lost for these few days. Yes. That strike, to that extent, the strike is successful. Number 2, the government has apologized. Number 3, the international community will now say, oh, we thought all you Nigerians only talk and can't bite. You only talk and you only bark and you can do nothing. Now they know. So if this had not taken place, worse things would happen. So if private schools did not obey the strike, you don't blame them. After all, Nigeria is the only big country in Africa where there are more private schools than public schools. In Rwanda, people pick their children from private schools back to public schools. You know what? It's only in this country that a man who is supposed to represent the people will ride and drive a car that's 160 million. And then the president wakes up and says, you know something? But he left me an empty treasury. Who is this speaking to? Maybe some fishes. And that's why a presidential candidate told them point blank, the way you're behaving, nothing indicates that it's true. So Labour has a big problem. You know what the problem of Labour is? There are too many divisions. In Uzodimma's current Imo state, who has he sponsored? Those people he says were with him. He should let's have their names and know who they are. They are not different from the same people, the same so-called bishops before the elections who went and were supporting a particular candidate. You see, in every society, there are black legs. There are people whose business it is to cause confusion, to benefit, because for them, what Esau did is still the best thing to do. Sell your birthright and go to the moon.
Well, looking at all the issues that have been happening, from the removal of fuel subsidy, looking at how the government has said it will roll out palliatives, and personally, I don't think I've heard someone that has said he has received that money yet. And I know that Labour is still trying to fight for the right of the people, for the Nigerian people, because every day you go to the market is a different story. And now we're even at the end of the year. This morning where you go to the market is a different story. Later is, and now we are talking about exploring sustainable solutions to this menace, or this issue that is happening in the country because of the removal of fuel subsidy. Comrade, I want you to just tell us, how does NLC propose to engage with the government and employers to ensure the implementation of sustainable solutions for workers' rights and fair wages, looking at the entire issue?
Yeah, it's a serious issue, and We must define a means to find a lasting solution for it. One of it is the issue of we have to just engage in dialogue with all these governments. They are not easy people to talk to. There are people that they believe that they have all what it takes. So to take it away from them is a problem. But well, we keep on having a dialogue with them. I think the system begin to a little bit change. You know, the other time we have about 16 different agenda that under MOU that jointly signed together with government and group.
Now talking about the last MOU
Yes,
that was signed,
that's
how far has that gone?
Very good. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, under it we have a 35,000 award wages. So each state now is handling the issues. We have seen some states have come up with that. Why the proper negotiation for minimum wage will commence by next year, right? We are waiting for that.
Is there a specific period, January, February, or?
Well, we could not be January, but by next year,
we,
you know, we say that in earnest. Then the issue of palliative. As of today now, we discovered that thousands of CNG vehicles are started coming down to the country.
Are there some in
Nigeria? No, in Nigeria now.
Nigeria.
Yes, as of now. So we are waiting for disbursement. Yes, so distribution of it to various places. And I think under this issue of palliative and other things we are talking to in Plateau State here, I need to understand there is about 2 trains that's already on grant now. Okay. So that waiting for proper thing to put in place so that we commence working. Then so many other things.
What
then
before the funds?
Funds, yes. There is a committee. The committee were able to sit up to 2 or 3 times now. They are, you know, with all this kind of like we are saying, people are waiting for what's going to be the end of this or that, right? So probably maybe that might be an issue that cause a cripple in that aspect. But we actually believe that 1 billion are set aside to get across to the poor of the poorest ones, right? Yeah. So they are working on that one as of today. So that one is ongoing. Then the issue of fertilizer is also there, but waiting for distributions. We also some of all those things as well here. Then what's other thing? The issue of fuels. There's a major issue.
Yes.
By January, latest by January 8 also, before then, we are sure, strongly assured that 2 refineries will be fashionable in this country.
Because right now, when you look at some of these filling stations, there is a high scarcity in the country.
You see, a part of our scarcity, my dear, when you go to a station and you see the rice at 660 naira per liter, it's a lie. It's go beyond that. It go beyond that. If you carry your small keg and say you want to buy fuel, you will discover that this 660 naira they are writing it's just a boo-boo. It's not real. But what we are waiting for, Labour is waiting for now, that this agreement they have signed with us, we hold it as the Holy Bible. And let's see how it's going to be effective between now and January or December. Then that's when the Labour now will know that yes, either we should do this or not. But actually there are some of areas that Labour's during our agreement that we also must be key into the system to see the truth of it. So for sure, we are praying that things will get better. With all our struggle, but we are calling all the nations to join us. People always look at NLC. When you look at the fraction of NLC, somebody will say that this and say that. But how many of you that have come out and say, okay, let us go out? Is this from which country is that they increase bread? Just for only one, is it only one?
Maybe Kenya.
Nigeria of Sudan.
And they all be on the street. But when the NLC declares strike today, if I no work today, I no go chop. So, and then you want more. So until when all of us were able to join forces and fight this tyrannic law that they are giving us on daily basis, before we can have a way out.
Well, Mr. God, I know you have an opinion, but right now we're going to go on a very short break. And when we come back, we'll continue the discussion. And don't forget that our phone lines will be open for you to add your voice. Please remember to stay away from your television set when you call us. Let's take this short break. You're welcome back from that very short break. And if you're just joining us, it's National Talk on ECWA Television International. And we have been discussing the latest NLC industrial action, exploring sustainable solutions. And I have been doing this with Comrade Sunday Akifolarin, that's the Vice NLC Chairman of Plateau State, and Mr. Etim Godwin, a public commentator. So before the break, you had something, but remember that our phone lines are now open for you to add your voice to this particular discussion.
You see, interestingly, when you talk about sustainable solutions, there are many things that would have to change. First, NLC must change its strategy. They must change a lot of things. The approach NLC has adopted today is the same approach we've had from the 60s. That must change.
Definitely, because we
Two,
are in a
between
in
the Obasanjo administration, when he was military head of state, Labour had face-off. Those gains and those structures are the same structures we have today. That must change. Labour cannot function the way Labour in Nigeria is structured today in the 21st century. This is the information age. It can't function. They need to change. Two, in terms of strategy, Labour must be more engaging. Let me give you a scenario. Palliatives. Palliatives for who? For less than how many? Look, the Nigerians who are engaged or employed, how many millions are they? The economy today is supported and has not gone under because of the informal sector. Labour made a mistake to have agreed to the use of the word palliatives. Anywhere in the world where a government sits and says, we want to take care of the poorest of the poor, that government has failed already. Because if our memory is right, when it was reported that Nigeria is among the list of the poorest, Buhari's government screamed. Those around him screamed. Is it not the same continuation? So why accept palliatives? Next, Labour must be very careful not to be tricked, because this government has tricked Labour. Box Labour into a corner. 35,000. State governments cannot pay 18,000. 35,000 is a fluke. It would never happen. Next, the refineries. Oh yes, what we've done is remove fuel subsidy. Fuel subsidy is fraud. Organized, official, government-sanctioned fraud. I challenge anybody in government to tell me, to a public debate, I want him to come and explain to me how subsidy has always been paid and how they have removed it today and we are better off. No country in the world with sensible, intelligent people like Nigerians should take this crap. Labour has been treated on that level. Then lastly, when you talk about subsidy, petrol, Labour has a responsibility everywhere in the world. Let me digress a little bit. The late Pope John Paul II is the main instrument that gave rise to saving Poland under General Jaruzelski. As we speak today, if Labour does not get her act together, we will go through this mess and this travesty for longer than is necessary. Lastly, Labour must put in place the machinery necessary to checkmate this government. Why? Because the National Assembly as it is today is in Tinubu's breast pocket. If I say back pocket, I make it sound too far. It's in his breast pocket. Tinubu sneezes, Akwa will catch cold. Tinubu coughs, the speaker, what's that his name now? He would do what? In actual fact, it's possible for him to have diarrhea. You know why? Because the same government will clear ministers, take a bow. They don't have to tell us to take a bow. This same government cleared the current CBN governor. How many minutes? Service chiefs. No questions asked. Nothing. We saw on TV, what on national, so Nigeria has become a laughing stock. As we speak, those Nigerians who were turned back from Saudi Arabia, businessmen, students or whatever, this National Assembly has not deemed it fit. So Labour must act as the new opposition, because the opposition parties in Nigeria have also gone to sleep. So Labour is the new official opposition, and that's why Nigerians will support Labour to the extent that Labour reorganizes, restructures herself, and becomes the official opposition to this unnecessary pain, travesty, this self-imposed hunger, poverty, and disease propelled by a government. Look, let me give you another scenario. IDB has agreed to give Nigeria some money. This federal government lied to us. Oh, they have not told us that money is a loan. So Labour must organize itself to a point where when it comes to propaganda, Labour should be positioned to say, hey, Nigerians, that's a lie. If Labour decides to leave this thing to the opposition, it's terrible. Lastly, subsidy, no subsidy. Labour should have said, excuse me, sir, we don't understand. You floated the naira. There's a man, I'm not going to call his name for security reasons. He said, excuse me, we don't understand what's happening in Nigeria. We think things should get better. He said it where? Under Obasanjo. It worked. Detijo, the immediate past Supreme Court judge, a man of honor, came out and told the world, as Supreme Court judge, this is what I earn. The registrar earns even more than we do. As Supreme Court judge, this is what happened. Has any nothing. It is from that statement when he said, and the vacancy to be filled. You see, when Labour allows injustice, unfairness, and inequity distribution of resources to find its way into any facet of our national life, Labour has failed. You know why? Because the woman who sells in the marketplace, she's also a member of Labour. That young boy who goes to school in primary school is also a member of Labour. You know why? Because if transporters pull their vehicles away, that boy will not go to school. That woman will not go to the market. So everybody who is not paying union dues but is in the popular domain is a member of Labour. He's an indirect member of Labour. So Labour must strategize. That is the best solution. Why? Because as it is now, people are saying 2024. I like what the Minister of Finance said today. All right, we have to look, gentlemen, we've got to stop borrowing and looking what. It's only in Nigeria, that the government will connive with the banks. You know, I'm sure you know that our banks they are just currency centers. They are not banks. Because in the countries where banks exist, when the economy is down, banks are down. In Nigeria, banks are declaring billions and billions. The people have become more and more impoverished. And you call that banking? They're just stealing. Point blank stealing. So the solution, Labour must re-strategize. Labour must structure itself to fit in 21st century. And Labour must engage at every step of the way, the Nigerian on the street. It's not every time they call you to go for one meeting. It's all, look, among them in the hall, they know. Let me give you one scenario. What business had the National Security Advisor at the meeting that took place? It is because he's doing his work to stop security from breaking down. If not, he's not supposed to be involved. So we must also commend the young man for doing what he's done. Then you come back. The same Labour told the Minister of Labour, we don't understand you. We don't want to meet with you. What were the reasons? They gave cogent reasons. Has anything changed? Nothing has changed.
Well, I had a chit chat with a cab driver I entered some days ago, and he said why they should bring back the subsidy, and then every other person will benefit from the subsidy, because now that they said they have rolled out palliative, how many people, he has not even seen anything, his children have not benefited, but with the subsidy he has benefited, and every other person, because when he goes to buy the fuel, it will be lesser for him. The passenger he's going to take will not pay as much as he is paying at this point, because if they reduce all of that, and that was just his take on this particular issue. But I totally agree that NLC needs to re-strategize. Like, you have to remove self-interest, political interest, and what have you, because as a pressure group, you should fight for the right of Nigerians. Now, and we have seen the up and down, the back and forth from Labour and the federal government.
Very interesting.
To be honest, if we don't look at these sustainable solutions, I don't think we'll still remain. NLC will keep saying that they will go on embark on strike, and they will not. And government will still say we are going to do this, and they will not do. And at the end of the day, we are still.
Let's just place this on the table so that we will not continue magroning on issue. You see, it's a system that has been bastardized, the governments of the day. But you see, like Anade said, a tree cannot make a forest. You are demanding much from Labour, that Labour must do this. It's as if we are now looking at NLC as the savior of this country. I'm happy my brother here give a classification that everybody, common man selling water in the street, is part of labor. Now, the issue is this. When you are crying, 3 of us here, we are crying about the situations we are facing in the country. So how many of them outside there that can join and come out laughably and say that this is a crime? So, and the people we are dying with, they have all what it takes. Look at the way they are using judiciary as of today. Is a judiciary a place you can run to and get a right judgment or get a rival directions if you are not belong to that cabal? Those with the cabal, those people that belong to that cabal, they are part of the government we are talking about. Sorry, I told you earlier on that anything called politics, I don't want to dabble into it because there's nothing to offer there. We can only look at God's kingdom to come. That's the last solution for mankind, truly. But in as much we are here, we are just trying. But everybody should believe that if you say that we have a constitution and you are reviewing the constitution yearly by yearly and refine it, and people to implement it, they are going a different way. So where do you get it right? Okay, now within this government, now this current government, sir, with due respect, how many times that the Labour have proposed that they want to fight? It's not that they just come and say they want to fight. Discussions have gone on. Like this man in Imo, since 2021, he has signed an agreement, January 9th, and he has not implemented that agreement. And now Labour now goes there now to ask, what is the reason why you throwing people out? Is there not a better way for us to find the solutions? So now will you say the Labour have not done well of going there, and we feel that we are performing our civic job? No, but how many people that we see it? But the larger crime that have happened is the problem that they will see against Labour. Just like the man we are talking, our father here, respect to him, but let's just at this time around, I think he should rethink of his statement. If a whole former president of NSC could come out and say that what we have done to go there to do this and to decline a strike for this is wrong. Now, sorry, let us be sincere to the issue now. There is a person that hold the country ransom. Even though if that go wrong, you don't throw your a baby and the water out at the same time. I think you should put a recap into it. No. So what are we going to achieve under that situations? But like you are saying, sir, the system that Labour operated before is quite different now. If you move closer with Labour, the operational system is quite different. Let me cite you an example of what's happened now. If there had been before this strike we embark upon, we just call for a meeting, maybe government may invite us for a meeting and we discuss with them, it's okay, we have agreed. But it's not. We pass through process. Sir, for calling off this strike, to call off this strike entirely off, I think it was ended around 2 o'clock midnight. After we finished meeting with them, we are not giving them, if you watch it on the telly too, you will see it clearly, even though if you are not in Abuja, when they were asking, how soon are we going to respond? We say we are going to our primary assignment. So, but that's part of the mechanism we are putting now. That a few set of officers or members of NSC cannot take a decisions without having a full house now. And let us reconsider, let us see what is actually happening. You have not asked me, what are the demands for us to have called off the strike? What have we seen before we call the strike? So it's not the issue of money, but we are telling you that the judiciary is our problem. One of the problem.
Comrade.
How
Comrade,
do you
no,
mean?
Because you cannot get the truth from them.
Comrade, hold
it's
on.
part of it. Are they not the one that be granted them the injunction?
Wait, comrade.
And we have been obeying it. But this time around now, we also have changed our system of operating
comrade,
now.
Wait.
Since we get better.
Mr. Etim, before you say your opinion, our time is really fast spent. You have said...
Hello?
Okay, I think we'll have a call.
Have a call.
Good evening. You can speak up.
Yeah, good evening, Lloyd.
Good evening, sir.
And I just want to what Mr. Etim is saying. You see, the reality is that you mentioned Abuja. I'm calling from Abuja because it's like the operation is all cargo. Let me put it that way. Because if you look at the masses are in trauma, so people are looking at, why would I go out for a strike and then I am in pain, I am in trauma, and then you see it's all cargo things. Every year even generation to generation. You understand? So I think if people begin to weak, lose hope. So let me put it that way. So I think that they should make a restructuring. Let's do something that will help, because people are looking for how will I even survive? That is the reality about it. That is why you see, because most of the vehicles I joined within the week, most of this is what people are discussing. What's track for? Why will I even go out for it? Because I'm looking for food to eat. So these are the things. That is why you see it look like in Abuja, it look a little bit dull. Let me put it that way. That is the truth about it. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much for calling. Well, Mr. Etim, before you give your opinion, our time is really fast spent. So I will just give you the opportunity to give your last thoughts on this particular issue as far as this show is concerned. So from your analysis, are there systemic issues within the current labor framework that need addressing to prevent recurring industrial actions, and what reforms will you suggest they take?
Oh, that question is for me?
Yes.
Oh, it's simple. The world has become smaller. NSC should take the advantage of a smaller space. NSC should do the needful. Nigerians are not dummy. We are very smart and intelligent people. NSC should do the needful. There are many things NSC should do which I'm not supposed to say on air now, because they are supposed to be internal arrangements. NLC is not doing it. If NLC does it, I'm telling you that Nigerians will stand behind NLC. Today, as we speak, every facet of our national life needs to be saved from what? Hunger, poverty, and disease, aside from insecurity. And who do you think will do it? We have one NLC. Let me give a classic example. The federal government discussed 35,000. Who is going to pay 35,000? Is it states too? Local governments too? Let's begin to look at Nigeria from the way Nigeria is a federation. This unitary approach must stop. NLC must restructure. There's only one NLC in Nigeria. Plus, they are just offshoots of the main NLC. So NLC must restructure in its entirety. When NLC needs that kind of assistance, there are people who are prepared to give that kind of assistance. If NLC restructures, I tell you, this government will catch fever and cold. You know why? Because we know what it takes. The people who are used and those who make themselves available to be used, either for whatever it is in this government, there is a ripple effect. So what is NLC want? NLC will not get nothing. So NLC must restructure. Two, Nigerians, we don't have any other country. We must stop this ostrich approach to very serious issues. Nigerians would do prayer and fasting for Donald Trump. I will not pray and fast for their own president, for their own country. Oh, Trump, who are you fasting and praying for? When right at your doorstep, there is more than insecurity. You will not look at it, you pretend. Lastly, Nigerians must never forget. Mahatma Gandhi made one comment. He said, the day we stop treating ourselves like brothers and sisters, we'll die like fools. Food for thought. When it's time to vote, go and vote. Don't say, I was here yesterday, the other time. A man who walks away from that which is his own has denied the fact that he still exists. Nobody is interested in a living dead or a dead hero. All Nigerians are important. All Nigerians need to stick. Look, take your space, maintain it, and move forward. We need to look at everything in this country from the point of view of one for all for one.
Well, our time has really gone, and I wish we have more time for you to say something, but right now I have to end the show. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the show. It was really an amazing time with you both. Thank you so much. And Labours must not be partisan in any way. If not, there will be a clash of interest. And that's national talk today.
Debbie, would have just allowed me to say a word on this issue of the partisan.
You can join us tomorrow, next week, Friday, at the same time and same station for another fresh episode of National Talk. I am Lois Shiraki. Have a good night and a great weekend ahead.